Well, so I've been in the job about 18 months,
Right.
and I've been, I think, laser focused since day one. Customer obsession. Customer obsession. Every time I come up
What does that even mean, David? Come on.
Yeah, so fair. It means we want to provide a level of service that is above and beyond anything you have any reason to expect. And right now we're picking riders up faster than we've ever before. We have more drivers on the platform we ever have before. Drivers prefer us 12 points over the other guy, which is fantastic.
Say the other guy's name. Come on.
I'm not going to talk about those
Okay.
guys. I don't even know who you're talking about, really. I got a little confused there. But anyway, the point being that the better you do for your riders, the better you do for your drivers, the more people respond. And that's why we've got all the records that you're seeing.
Just very quick. Detail it matters when it comes to consumer behaviors, psychology.
Yeah.
My research and understanding is that Lyft is very much the commuter space right now. Urban areas, San Francisco is one example where we are.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Sure. So you're right, Monday to Friday, about half our rides are commute rides, which is enormous. Just think of the time people are saving not having to drive themselves and so forth. We introduced something called Price Lock a while back, which allows people to lock in a price, get rid of surge pricing, which you know I'm no fan of, neither is anybody else. And that's had a great effect on commute, because commute people take the same ride every day, but they don't like to see the price bounce around. So it's been a huge success. We've got about 200,000 people who've got a Price Lock pass right now. Keeps growing.
Autonomous vehicles?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to have a really honest conversation about this.
Great.
As you know, it's something that I work on every single day. Our colleagues at Bloomberg Intelligence, our research arm, say that you face disintermediation risk because you're small. You announced a partnership with Mobileye, which is a maker of sensors and system and a chip. I don't see it. I don't understand how that gets you to market with offering autonomous rides on your platform.
Yeah, sure. Love the question. So first, I think AVs are going to be a huge accelerant, actually a TAM expander, addressable market expander for Lyft. Because I think what it's going to do is it's going to bring new product onto the platform that people are going to like. Some people are going to like being driven by a human. Some people are going to think being driven by a robot is pretty cool. Some use cases favor one or the other. So anyway, I think the hybrid future is what we're looking at over time. Now, Mobileye, they make the sensors. They make the tech. You probably have them in your car right now. Lane assist, smart cruise control, all that stuff. That's level 2. Level 4 is full self-driving. So imagine a world where Mobileye tech, which might show up in a Honda or a GM or a Ford or a Stellantis or a Volvo or a whatever, imagine that you can push a button saying, you know what, push this button and your car is now available on the Lyft platform to pick people up and pick them up wherever they are, whatever. So it's a way to sort of, today, if you want to drive for Lyft, that means you're using your time and your car. Tomorrow, maybe you just use your car.
We're getting somewhere now, because what you're describing is very similar to Elon Musk's vision for the Tesla proprietary app.
Yeah.
If you're a Tesla owner, you can submit your vehicle to the fleet, and when you're not using it, it works more like Airbnb than any other platform. But again, it's very hard for people to see the jump there. I'll let you answer, but Uber and Waymo, for example, is very tangible. You can summon a Waymo in those future markets next year, Austin and Atlanta.
Yeah, where are we? Right, I got it. Well, so we're doing both, right? So we just signed an agreement with May Mobility, which is also does full self-driving in Atlanta, and that'll be available next year. So that's fantastic. So that means if you want to have that experience, and by the way, we've given 130,000 rides in Las Vegas with a prior partner as well. So we've got some on-the-ground stuff going on, which is great. And I think it's really important. But I also think the future, where a lot of us, individuals, people who drive today, anyone who has a car, if it's a self-driving car, should also be able to be put on the Lyft platform. By the way, I would extend that to Tesla as well. You use the word proprietary. I think that's right. There's no particular reason why, as a Tesla owner, you wouldn't want to necessarily participate on the Lyft platform too. So that's kind of the future we're trying to build towards.
I mean, the stock's still up 29%, and so I guess the market believes this vision of the future. Any evidence that Waymo in San Francisco is taking market share from yourselves and Uber?
So we look at Waymo much more as a potential partner than a competitor. Look, if you're a Waymo, you want to be, and it's
they're
super
not your
important.
partner, they're Uber's partner.
Oh, but they'll be both. Over time. I'm not making a prediction exactly. I'm simply saying if you're in the business of creating very expensive assets like self-driving cars, you want them utilized. You want them on the road, and the way you put them on the road is you don't just do it yourself. You end up partnering with a couple of other people who've got that demand built in, which we do. We do 2 million rides a day as it is. So I think if you're one of those companies, your whole job is get the tech reliable, safe, inexpensive, and then commercialize it in a bunch of different ways. And we want to be one of the best partners for them we can be.
David, I have a question about New York City. Since I'm here, I saw an ad somewhere online yesterday that said Uber drivers make $35 an hour per online hour, which I thought was kind of cheap because I know that Uber and Lyft are locking drivers out of the platform for some part of the day that they can't possibly calculate or know. So they end up spending hours at their job in which they don't make money. How much longer are you going to be doing that to drivers, and why?
Yeah, so it's frustrating as hell. We do not want to do this. Drivers don't like it. We don't like it. What's going on? First, I don't know about that $35 an hour. Actually, I think the number that I know from New York is more like $40 an hour engaged. But anyway, they've got their numbers. We've got ours.
But the drivers we've followed around are making more like $15 an hour, right? Because they end up being in their car and locked out of the platform for a considerable portion of the day.
Totally, yeah, super frustrating. It's not something that we want to do. It's something we feel like we're forced to do because of a particular regulatory framework that only exists in New York City. Doesn't exist in New York State, doesn't exist in the rest of the country. And in the rest of the country, even in New York State, we've done all sorts of work to make sure that drivers never get locked out of the platform. But there's this peculiarity around New York and how the regulations are written that are putting both the other guys and us in this terrible position of having to sometimes turn driver supply down just to meet what's called utilization requirements. So believe me, we're talking to the regulators. We don't like it. And I don't think it actually is good for anyone. I think it's an unintended consequence of a well-intentioned idea of let's make drivers make more. And I think it's just having the opposite effect.
Lyft's doing more. I think about some of the partnerships. We had the DoorDash CFO on the show this past week. It's an example.
Yeah.
But again, you and I have had this conversation, let's say, a dozen times now?
Yeah.
What's the next thing for Lyft, the new business lines? For example, like some people find it really interesting whether you sell more of your data to the OEMs. It's a really interesting case study.
Well, I mean, let me talk about partnerships in general. So, our focus is rideshare, right? That's what we focus on. So when you focus, you can do great work, which means you can have more riders, more drivers, better experience, better service. But it also means if you want to really meet your customers where they are, you need to partner, right? So we just announced a partnership with DoorDash, as you say. I think of it as two great tastes that go great together. I think it's an old Reese's peanut butter thing. Maybe it doesn't land in the UK, but anyway, in the US, that's what we talk about.
I've been here long enough.
You've been here long enough. You kind of know it, so you've drunk the Kool-Aid. You've eaten the cup. But anyway, the point is, you can save on both. As a Dash Pass user, you can save on Lyft. As Lyft, you can save on Dash Pass. So that's a great, type of partnership we've already announced. And I encourage you to link your accounts. But anyway, we'll do more and more of that. So as we provide incredible transportation service, get you out to the world, connect you with other people, we want to work with other partners who can make the experience even bigger.
David, President-elect Trump.
Yeah.
What's Lyft's plan for the next administration and what the world looks like?
Well, I don't know exactly what the world looks like, but I can tell you this. Look, we work at the federal level with all of the administrations over the last 10 years, right? And our big focus at the federal level actually gets back to Max's question. How can we have sort of federal level legislation that actually helps us recognize that drivers they're not full-time employees. Frankly, it doesn't exactly feel like independent contractor either fully. It feels like a blend of both. And how can we find a national strategy that kind of gives them benefits and so forth? That's what we're focused on at the national level. We also do a ton of work at the state level and the local level. Here in San Francisco, we met with the mayor a couple months ago. We don't know if she'll be the mayor in the future or a future person. But anyway, about how can we bring more life to San Francisco.
Just really quick, Elon Musk on Tesla's last earnings call said that in the scenario of a Department of Government Efficiency, he'd use that platform to work towards federal level regulation of autonomous cars. Yeah. Do you support that idea and what do you want to see happen?
Absolutely support it. Of course, a lot of work has to be done to come up with smart regulation there. But the reason we support it is simple. It's not super fun to have 50 different states to work with 50 different regulations. Nobody likes it. You got to test some things and so forth. At a certain point, though, you need to take a stance, at the country level. I don't know. I think autonomous vehicles are going to be safer. They know the laws. They follow the laws. They've got 8 eyes to our 2. So, they're going to be safer. But it's going to be one of those things we're going to have to step in it step by step so that, frankly, it works for all of humanity, not just for the robots.